Tech Tuesday. My name is Dez, I love tech. And this is going to be a podcast that talks about a little bit of everything in STEM, STEAM, and everything in between. We're going to talk about things that are happening with games of life, things that are happening in the world of science, the world of space, and even some of the medical breakthroughs that we may have seen in this week's news. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into our first story, which is Roblox AI powered verification system. Now, I can tell you firsthand, this system is broken. It is broken in so many ways. And I say this with the most love ever in my heart, that they're trying, y'all. They're really trying. I that's the only way I can say is they're trying. It's broken in ways that I don't think I ever thought I would see an AI system broken. It's so bad that they have now listed my 11-year-old child as an 18-year-old. And mind you, they don't look 18. They don't sound 18. There's nothing about them that is 18. But in their infinite wisdom, they have decided that she's 18 years old and is no longer allowed to play with her fellow 6th grade classmates. And the only way that you can actually fix this is to call the Roblox corporate number or to work through their online ticket system, which is just as broken. So we heard Schlepp, the person who brought up the poor securities of Roblox, to help them fix the issue. And while they're trying to fix the issue, they've undoubtedly made it much worse. So we'll keep you up to date on whether or not they have fixed it and how long 8, 9, 10, and 11-year-olds are going to be classified as 18 to 25-year-olds, like my 11-year-old here at home. Now, multi-millionaire Mackenzie Scott, billionaire philanthropist, should I say, Mackenzie Scott, has been donating money to many causes that her ex-husband, Papa Jeff, Mr. Jeff Bezos, doesn't really stand up for. You know, Mr. Bezos stands up for the dollar bill, and that's about it. And creating weirdly shaped rockets that it can go into space. Yeah, that's how we're gonna word that. Well, Mackenzie Scott, one of the main things that she's done in the last few years is donate millions of dollars to an HBCU that I'm an alumni of, Prairie View A&M University. And I'm honored to know that she is doing great with her billions of dollars. So much so that she just donated $45 million to the Trevor Project. And if the Trevor Project sounds familiar, it is one of the organizations that I have been championing over the last 5 years. They help with LGBTQI2S plus advocacy among teens and youth, those who may have been put out of their home because they came out of the closet, those who are curious and trying to understand life and don't really have a place to turn. Mackenzie Scott just dropped $45 million to help in the tide of teen and youth and young adult suicide rates, giving them an outlet that they can call home, someone they can talk to, or somewhere they can go that understands or at least validates them. I mean, I'm looking at this as a chance here to number one, say thank you, Mrs. Scott. I appreciate you because, wow, this is amazing. This is an awesome thing that you're doing, and I want to see more of this. Please. You know, last year, the 988 federal hotline, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, was launched. And I thought that was a great service. And the Trevor Project is one of the primary service administrators for 988. If you didn't know, now you know. So, for Mackenzie Scott to donate $45 million to them, congratulations, Trevor Project. Amazing, outstanding, thank you, Mackenzie Scott. And yeah, let's see what Trevor Project can do with that influx of funds. Now, in most recent years, we've had an issue with a certain brand out there that, we won't say, who they are, but they have had a habit of purchasing great companies and not doing well with the products. This is Astro. I love Astro headsets, and ever since that company purchased them, they've been having serious problems with their products spiking audibly. So much so, one of the other streamers that I watch, Twitch, actually had her headphones, her wireless headphones, pretty much blow up on her, live on stream. That is painful to watch. And I've had headphones do this to me. And it hurts. You would think, okay, it's just sound. No, it hurts. It physically hurts. So here's a chance to grab a great alternative. Corsair has their Void V2 wireless headphones, currently at $80 at Best Buy and Amazon. I'm going to put a link to this in the description for the Amazon listing. But this is amazing that they are offering a great wireless headphone to directly challenge that company with style and quality. I'm looking at this and I want one of these to try it out, because the wireless headphones, I use this one that I'm using currently as a wireless headphone. I just had it plugged up so I can make sure I keep charged on stream. And that's an issue. having a headphone that is actually good enough to keep charged. So, if Corsair was done an excellent job thus far finding amazing companies such as Elgato and adding them to their portfolio. This headset looks to be one that I could definitely find myself using going forward. And as promised, I am going to put this one in the description below because I think of the four colors that I see below, I mean, I would go with just the regular black. They have a dual tone black and white. They have a pink one. Matter of fact, my 11-year-old would love the pink one. That's amazing. And they have an all white one. And in all honesty, that all white one looks really nice. But I am partial to black headphones because it just goes with every aesthetic. Yes, people who have white PC cases and motherboards and GPU shrouds and they have a whole aesthetic thing going. A white headset works great. For me, I go with a black aesthetic where everything is dark on my system except for a little bit of RGB. Tasteful RGB. The fans on both ends, the fan at the bottom, and the hub for my AL. So, just a little bit, not anything major. But this is an amazing bit of kit. And I'm gonna see if I can get my hands on one. Well, Corsair, if you're watching this, could you look me up one to review? Or sponsor me with one? Because this is, 50mm drivers, a 70-hour battery, and my just standby time. Okay. It says play for days with up to 70 hours of battery life. 70 hours is standby time. Okay. But it only has a 15-minute charge time to get 6 hours. That's literally all I would use. So, if you want to see me try out this headphone that I definitely recommend, let me know down in the comments below. And speaking of trying out devices, I am an avid user of cheap cell phones. And Wired has put out their list of cheap cell phones that they would recommend, and a couple that they don't really recommend. And for them to recommend it, it has to score 6 out of 10 or higher. Now, to be clear, Wired don't always agree with their choices, but I will say there is one on their list. I'll tell you, there are a couple on their list that fall into that sweet spot. My current phone is a Google Pixel 6a. Okay? Their 9a is $399 now. I may have to do a massive upgrade on my phone. Because at $399, that is an amazing price for Pixel 9 series entry-level phone. And it came out at $499. For it to drop $100, now that the 10A is out, let's be clear. The 10A is out and it is a great bit of kit. So I'm definitely someone that is not shirking the greatness of a pixel phone, but $399 is still a lot of money. So I have to sit on this a little bit. It may be later down the year for me to get this, but if you want one, I'll put it down in the description so that you can pick one up. And mind you, when I say I'm going to put it down in the description, it is a link, an affiliate link that, yes, I'll get a kickback for, but it goes towards helping to keep the lights on and helping to make sure that the streams and videos can actually happen. Now, they do have a few phones on their list that I am in love with. I cannot stand the iPhone. Their recommendation is the iPhone 16e. No, for $600, it shouldn't even be on the list of cheap phones. Okay? They consider $600 cheap. I consider that atrocious. It's $550 at Best Buy with 8% off, but I still think that this phone is too expensive. But when you go down just a little bit more, you have the Samsung S25 FE, which is the fan edition phone. That means you just love Samsung. You don't care, what the specs are. You just want a Samsung phone, and this is the entry level to Samsung. For $450 on Amazon. Okay, this is a phone I can get behind, but it is not the best value in my personal opinion. Does it have the most bang for a buck? To be debated. But as far as a cheap Samsung phone goes, the best one is this S25 FE. The specs, 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. Great. At 8 gig RAM. Running the Samsung Exynos 2400. That's a great processor that could actually play games like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Zone Zero. But then you get into phones like the Nothing Phone 3. The Nothing Phone 3, well, the 3A, is one that I actually like. I want the Nothing Phone 3A. It's $379. That's something I can get behind. The Pro is $459. Once again, that's something that I could get behind. This is really and truly a difficult choice on this one. And it's rated 8 out of 10, which means it is one of the best values out there, according to Wired. And I tend to agree. The Nothing Phone has come into the market as a budget alternative to the flagship phone. And they've been nailing it every year. I actually had a chance to look at the Nothing Phone 2. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful. That's all I can say. It is a beautiful bit of kit. And I want a Nothing Phone 3A. But if I can't get a Nothing Phone 3A, there is an alternative. And there are phones that match this alternative left and right, such as the Moto G Stylus 2025 edition. This is a good phone. $300. I'm going to put the Amazon link for it. For $300, it is worth every red cent. Okay? It is worth every red cent. Put the wrong one. The Moto G stylus is Motorola's answer to the Samsung S25 Ultra, which is the one that comes with a stylus. This one has a stylus. This is a pro-level phone in a budget package, and I can tell you this is a good-looking phone. And this color, Pantone Gibraltar, the Pantone Gibraltar Sea Blue color, is just gorgeous. My favorite color phones. Well, my favorite color period is blue. Period. Okay. Surf the Web, which was last year's color, was actually pretty nice. But I think that this Gibraltar Sea, the Pantone Gibraltar Sea, is one of the best colorways that they've had in a very long time. Would I want to purchase this? Yes. I actually was going to purchase the previous year's version, but I digress. I got my Pixel 6a. I'm in love with it still. I'm happy. It's all good. But here's the next thing. Wired has started listing their A phone for Samsung, and they start off at $500. And yeah, I get it. But I don't get it. I'm a cute dog. I'm not really a fan of over easy. You know, the Samsung Galaxy phones have long been good phones, and the A series is the budget line of Galaxy phones. Okay. Even Motorola is getting into the folding game, though. They have their Razr that they came back with, and in all honesty, the Razr was $650. It's the cheaper of the options. The cheaper one that is actually good. But for $650, I can't recommend it. I just can't. Let me grab the, it's not even on Amazon yet. I'll find an A36 or A26 and put it in the description. But my phone that I want and the phone that I think actually should get more credit than it does. I'm actually wearing the CMF Watch 2 on my wrist right now. This CMF Phone 2 is $279, a $280 phone that has mid-grade to flagship level specs. This is an excellent phone. Wired has even scored a 9 out of 10. I scored 10 out of 10. It is a great phone, and one that I can honestly say is worth every red cent, every penny. Okay? Now, Samsung with the A56, 36, and all that was above is the A56. Yeah, for $650. They have an A36 and A26 for starting at $400, and A26 at $300. Those are the ones that I would actually recommend if you are dead set on getting a Samsung phone. Those are the ones I'm going to actually put as a recommendation. Now, the CMF Phone 2 Pro. The reason why the CMF phone doesn't show up as a mainline phone in the US, unfortunately, is because it's difficult to get in because of the trade tariffs and trade practices of the current U.S. administration. And that's me being nice about it. It is a phone that I definitely recommend. But it's difficult to purchase in the US. So, this is one of those times when I would say use that VPN to hop on Canada's Amazon and purchase this phone. It's actually worth it. It really is. They have a TCL 60XC as one of the phones that they're featuring as less than $400. And let me be clear. TCL phones are surprising values. I'm just not a fan of e-reader style displays, e-ink displays. This is their next paper display, which takes everything wonderful about a matte LCD and puts it in a color e-ink screen for a cell phone. Not a fan. I am not a fan. I can honestly say I'm not a fan of that. But I haven't had one in my hand yet, so I don't know. It could be a wonderful value. If you want to see me try one of these, they're $250. So it's not a highly expensive phone. But let me know down in the comments. I'll try one. You know, it may surprise me. I mean, the TCL phone surprised me when I first tried one 5 years ago. So only recently getting off of the TCL phones, this is actually one that I will try. Now, but only if you want me to. Now, they also have the Motorola the G Power 2025 edition phone for $200. We have a couple of these here in the house, and I can tell you they're great phones. This phone can do everything a flagship can. It just has a slightly sluggy process. That's all. That is all. It's priced to be competitive with the CMF phone. Okay? I prefer the CMF phone to this. But I can honestly say that the Motorola G Power phones are actually worth the investment. Now, I'll put all of the links in the description so you can decide for yourself. Because that's a lot of fun. And I know you're going to make a good decision based on what you read and what you study. Alright. Now, I couldn't get through this first episode without talking about AI. AI is machine language on steroids, and it has been around for years. AI was around when I was a kid. It was just simply called machine language. Or in general programming. Matter of fact, we were building the framework for AI using the original Yahoo, Netscape, AOL search engines. So, we've been using AI for years. Things such as, Google, Grammarly, Travala. Whenever you want to go on a trip, hotwire.com. We've been using AI for years and just didn't even realize. Well, Microsoft has said that they are planning on not accepting any local subsidies for their data centers. So much so that they're planning on paying full power costs. They don't want any discounts locally to run their data centers. They're going to pay their staff living wages, and they're going to pay the full costs to run the data centers where they stand them up. To that I say, good on them. Good on them. Amazon needs to take a chip out of that one and learn a lesson from them, because they're planning on standing out some supersized Amazon stores. Now, you may be familiar with the Amazon store if you live up in the northwest, up in Washington State, the Oregon area. They had a few Amazon stores where you can actually, like convenience stores, where you can walk in, pick up the item, tap your app on the machine, it'll charge you automatically, and you walk on about your day. Here in the Austin area, we have an Amazon traditional store in the domain where you can walk in, talk to an associate, get your items, make a return, pick up something that you purchased, and be about your day. I like that type of setup, a small point setup, and it's put in a shopping center type environment. That is something I can get behind. What I can't get behind is standing up a Walmart-sized Amazon store. That makes zero sense to me. That means they're directly competing with Walmart. And if anybody can make Walmart go out of business, it's Amazon. So, I guess Battle of the Giants commence? Maybe? I'm not a fan of this idea, though. I'm definitely not a fan of it. It is one that article by Todd Bishop of GeekWire talked about the proposal is going to be in Chicago, and it just doesn't make sense that they're setting up a supercenter style store where they're going to basically put multiples of the most popular items being purchased on their store in this one shopping center. I'm not there for this. I'm not. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. And they've been trying the physical stores. Some of them have been great, some of them have been poor. As I said, the one in the domain here has been the one in the domain here has been really good. And I would like to see more of those little small stores. Not the giant stores that they're recommending here. But it's still in the planning stage. Let's see where they go from here. Now, if you haven't heard, there is a bit of a chip shortage going on with NAND and flash memory components. So much so that if you need an SSD for your system, you're paying 4 to 5 times the cost of one right now. And this is above and beyond the turf, price that we're stuck with in this day and age. It's crazy to pay $500 for an SSD with 2 terabytes. And I kid you not, I've been looking throughout Amazon and on eBay. It's just bad right now because of the giant AI boom. Well, chip manufacturer SK Hynix has actually come out and said that they're going to invest $13 billion in a chip packaging plant in South Korea. This is huge because chip packaging is really what the issue is with why it takes so long to spin up more NAND flash. And SK Hynix is one of the main companies that has figured out the secret sauce for making some of the best flash memory products on the market. With their fab going to be in, not fab, sorry, the packaging plant going to be in South Korea, which is what the SK and SK Hynix stands for. Okay, they're still going to be subject to a tariff, but it could help to bring down the price of memory. And yes, RAM of your desktop computer. If you want 16 gigs of RAM right now, you're paying $250. Let that sink in. $250 for something that was just costing $65. All because of the AI boom. So SK Hynix investing $13 billion in their chip packaging. I'm there for it. You know what I'm not there for though? And Siri becoming a Gemini. Siri is Apple's AI. It has been for several years. Apple has been looking for ways to improve Siri, make her more human-like, make her be able to respond better. And Google has a pretty good secret sauce been going. Their Gemini architecture is bulletproof right now. So Apple said that they're going to power their Siri AI with Google Gemini. Now, they're not going to be using a large language model. They will be using the architecture behind Gemini. And I think that is a good thing. You want Siri to become more of an actual usable tool. This is actually a way that could bode really well for it. So I want to see where this goes. Just like I want to see what Meta is planning with their arrangement that they're making with 3 nuclear power plants. SK Hynix is doing great things in NAND flash, but Meta is driving me crazy with what they're planning to do with these energy companies. Now, don't get me wrong, nuclear power is great, but Meta is planning on using nuclear power to generate enough electricity so that they don't have to be a heavy burden on the normal power grid. Here's the thing. 3 Mile Island, which they just did 3 Mile Island back up. The one tower that is melted down is not able to go back online, but the others are. And yeah, this is actually a really interesting situation that Meta has found themselves in, where the deal that they're striking keeps the prices fair for the consumer who is getting energy in the regions that they're going to be working at. And to be clear, these nuclear power plants are along the Tennessee River and in the Tennessee River Valley. You have Oklo, Terra Power, and I believe it is Prometheus. No, Prometheus is their supercluster that they're standing up. Constellation Energy, that's the one. Constellation Energy. So, 3 nuclear power plants that are going to power the Prometheus cluster. You would think, okay, that's a lot of juice. And you would be right. Well, hopefully Meta takes whatever the overage is on their power usage and they put that back into the grid so that we don't see a situation like Texas had where the infrastructure fails and citizens are without power for extended periods of time. But only time will tell. Now, Meta might be getting ready to superpower their AI, but doctors are using generative AI for a great reason. In an article in Science Daily, doctors at the University of Cambridge are using AI to spot dangerous blood cells that doctors miss through routine microscopy and examination. This new AI model is able to detect these better than the normal human experts that have been spotting dangerous changes in blood for years. This is huge because the field of medicine may have just found the answer to some blood diseases that strike children and adults throughout the U.S. This is a great thing, and I want to see more of this. I want to see what these doctors are able to do with this new find. Because if they combine the squamous cell and the squamous cell lung cancer, they have a possibility of curing what has become one of the most destructive things out there. Okay. Now, a little bit of space news. Right now, there's a massive superstorm that's forming on the sun. If you didn't know, the sun only rotates every 28 days, so it's constantly spinning and churning. But it takes 28 days for the same side of the sun to reset back to what we have identified as its front, as its standard plane. So 28 days, and you think, okay, that's a little less than a month. That's February. That's okay. We can do that. Well, they found some extreme solar storms, solar cells turning up in a specific highly active region of the sun. Well, if you're looking for a possible rogue solar storm this summer, this could be something to watch out for. I'm gonna let the experts handle figuring out if we should be hardening our infrastructure against this storm, and I'm not gonna make any claims to the pro or the con of it. I just thought it was interesting that the European space orbiter, solar orbiter, the space probe, is how we found this out. They have a probe that is flying around, and at one point it's going to be into the sun. So let's see what else this probe finds before the end of its life. A bit of unfortunate news in space. An astronaut has actually, from the Crew 11, has actually fallen ill. This medical emergency is something that you can't plan for. And the astronauts have stayed quarantined. They've kept themselves healthy during the meantime. But one of the astronauts has had a medical emergency. Now, the Crew 11 capsule that delivered them to this ISS, the International Space Station, and that's going to be bringing them home, is called the Endeavour. Yes, it's paying homage to the shuttle Endeavour. And the pilot of that mission is going to be Mike Finke. The command, the crew command is going to be Zena Hartman, and the other two members of the team are Japan's Kamiya Yui and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Platonov. Okay? They're going to be the mission specialists for Crew 11. Well, as they're up at the ISS, they're going to have to come back a little sooner. They were supposed to stay until mid-February, but they're already planning on disembarking and coming back much sooner. They're already planning on disembarking and coming back much sooner. So, I don't know what the medical situation is. NASA is being a little tight-lipped about it, but once the astronauts get back to Earth, we'll find out the situation and see if it had anything to do with the state of the ISS or something they could have been testing. Next in space news, the Artemis 2 has potential launch dates for their moon mission. I am so happy about this because they've gone through a couple of iterations of crew at this point. And because NASA is, not really best funded right now, they've had to move a lot of their research back until we can get to this point. And I am looking forward to seeing exactly what they're going to be doing. Artemis 2, when they get to the moon, are going to be performing several science projects. They're going to be trying to grow food on the moon. They're going to be using the sediment and dust and rock from the moon as a medium for trying to grow. These sorts of experiments are great, and they help us to understand how we can survive best if we do truly become a multi-planetary society. I can't wait to see this rocket launch. Artemis has been one of the defining projects of this generation of space travel. Getting us back to the moon is not going to be easy. And helping us with that is going to be Elon Musk, who company SpaceX is making positive headways with their rocket programs. Their Falcon 9 rockets are amazing, the bee's knees, and have gotten to a point that they're able to catch Falcon 9s extremely regular. Their Starship program, they've had some setbacks, but they're becoming much more consistent when it comes to being able to get their rockets back and be able to reuse the engines. That's the biggest part. Reusing that engine and ultimately reusing the actual spacecraft is going to be key to the success of the Starship going forward, because that is going to be the ship that takes us to Mars, for better or worse. So we'll see how this all pans out. I can't wait to see what Artemis 2 is going to look like. Now, a little weird science news. There is a yam in Africa that is known to be extremely toxic unless you cook out all of the toxins. And it has an interesting way of getting its seed to propagate. This yam is called the black bulb yam, also known scientifically as Dioscorea melanophyma. Okay? Or melanophyma. This yam makes fake berries. What eventually becomes the potato itself at one point looks like a berry with a flower behind it on a vine. Birds look at this and say, "Oh, sweet fruit," and they go and they eat the berry. Well, that berry is actually the seed for the yam. The birds that eat from this have built up a toxicity immunity to what is in this particular yam. All I can say is this is not a yam that I want to see in my current plot around the house. But it is interesting to see just how plants are able to adapt to different environments and how it helps them to get forward. Now, our last story of the day is one of biodiversity. It's a slightly disheartening story, but one with crumbs. If anyone that plays the game Minecraft can tell you that the axolotl is by far the cutest of the animal mobs that they added to the game in the last 3 to 5 years. The axolotl is a salamander that is found locally in Mexico. Unfortunately, its habitat has dwindled down to an extremely small size. And now they're disappearing. Between toxic water and a disappearing biome, the axolotl may become a thing of the past. We can save it though. There are projects being worked on that actually clean up the lake water for the system, the Xochimilco system just outside of Mexico City. And I am there for that. I really want to see water pollution cleaned up and the habitat reforged. Because while they don't add a great deal of value to the ecosystem, axolotls are a fun little animal that makes us always smiling, is always happy. And one little cute face like this looking back at you every morning. I know I would. But that's gonna wrap us up. Say thank you for checking out this pilot episode of Tuesday. If you could, give me a like on the video. Why don't you share it? Give it a comment down below. Let me know things that you make sure that you do those YouTube things of like, comment, and subscribe. And until next Tuesday, day nerd.
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. I don't want